This is day 5 of my autumn or fall themed card series, and today I'm working on a linen textured cardstock and I'm going to use watercolours for my background. These are Winsor and Newton artist watercolours, and I'm just using a variety of blue tones and some Nicolazo gold. Next, I'm taking a piece of hot press watercolour paper and I'm going to stamp my focal image onto this. It is a leaf from a stamp set by Just Rite, and the stamp set is called Autumn Leaves. I'm using VersaFine ink in Onyx Black to stamp it with. And once the ink has dried, I'm going back to the Winsor and Newton watercolours and choosing shades of greens, yellows, browns to represent autumn. When I've finished colouring the image and the watercolour has dried, I'm using some Pergamano curved edge scissors to cut it out. Now I'm taking some VersaFine ink in Onyx Black and a piece of Ranger cut and dry foam, and this is to darken the edges and cover up any white paper, which you tend to get a white edge when you've cut out an intricate image like this. This is golden gesso, and I'm going to use this with a piece of sequin mesh to act as a stencil, and I'm using Ranger cut and dry foam to apply the gesso through the stencil so it adds some more interest to the background. To add a sentiment to my card, I'm going back to the Just Rite stamp set and I'm using archival ink in jet black for this instead of my regular VersaFine, and that is because I've got gesso on the card and the VersaFine ink would resist that and not dry properly. And now I'm ready to attach my leaf to the card background, and I'm using Ranger Glossy Accents for this because it's quite strong glue and the watercolour paper is quite heavy. To further embellish the leaf, I decided to add some Wink of Stella brush pen. This is in the clear, so it will just add a very subtle shimmer to the leaf. I've chosen to layer my card onto another piece of the white linen texture cardstock, and this makes the total card size a 4-inch square. For the base of my card, I'm using 325 GSM smooth white cardstock, and I've stamped the reverse of the card with my Judikin stamp, details of which will be found in the product list in the video description. This is a Dynamics die set called Stitched Squares, which I'm using for my insert. And I've cut this from 160 GSM cardstock, and I'm using the same shades of watercolour paint that I used on the background for the front of the card. For my sentiment on the insert, I'm going back to the Just Rite stamp set and I've chosen some text that is being stamped with VersaFine ink in Onyx Black. To further embellish the insert, I've chosen Distressing in Broken China, and I'm using this with my Stampin' Up stamp of Tiny Splatters. And when I've finished this, I also use the ink direct to paper around the edges of the insert. Now all that's left to do is to finish assembling my card. I've used Sellotape brand double-sided tape for both the insert and the front of the card, and then it is complete. So that brings us to the close of another day in this series. I hope you will join me again tomorrow for the penultimate day, which is day 6. As always, there is a link to the full product list in the video description, as well as my social media sites.